Hello guys, welcome to 6th part of Angular-10 series of tutorials. In this tutorial, we'll see what data binding is and how many ways we can bind the data in Angular. Let's get started. Data binding is one of the most powerful and important features in Angular. It defines a communication between component and view and from view to the component. Data binding can be either way. It may be one-way data binding or two-way data binding. Let's discuss about one-way data binding. In one-way data binding, the data flows from one way to other. I mean, the data communication can happen in unidirectional way. That is, from TypeScript code to HTML template or from HTML template to TypeScript code, but not in both ways. The following are the examples of one-way data binding: string interpolation, property binding, and event binding. Let's discuss about string interpolation. String interpolation is a one-way data binding technique which is used to output the data from TypeScript code to HTML template. It uses a template expression in double curly braces to display the data from component to view. With this understanding, let's flip to the Visual Studio Code and work on some of the examples of string interpolation. We are back to Visual Studio Code. Offline, I have created a new Angular project by convention demo Angular inside Angular folder. Let me remove the content that get auto-generated by Angular CLI. Now I want to display the text assigned to this property title in the app component.html. To do that using string interpolation, we need to use the title property in double curly braces. Let us put that inside h1 tag. And inside double curly braces, we need to add title property. Let's start the server and launch the application in the browser and see what's going to happen. To do that, we need to open a new terminal and get into cd space demo angular ng space serve. The application is compiled successfully. Let's launch the application in the browser. Perfect. We are able to see the text assigned to the title property in the view. When Angular notices the property title in double curly braces in the template, it tries to find the matching property in the component and replaces it with the value assigned to that particular variable. Another usage of interpolation is to evaluate the arithmetic expressions present within the curly braces. Let's add one more h1 tag and let us give two numbers inside the curly braces. (10 plus 10). So the expected output should be 20. Let me save this. Okay, as this application is up and running, let me launch the browser. Perfect. Angular ran the expression between the curly braces and rendered the sum of two numbers. We can also call methods of the component within the interpolation expressions. Let us create a method and invoke that from double curly braces. Let us create a method in app component.ts. Let me drag it a bit. Okay. Let me create a method getTime. Which is going to return a string and want to return okay. Now the method get time is going to return a string morning. Let us invoke this inside curly braces in app component.html. Okay, let me add one more h1 tag and add a text like have a good, and I will invoke the method inside the curly braces. So the expected output should be have a good, and this function should be replaced with the text morning. Let's flip to the browser. There we go. Perfect. Let's see the few cases that interpolation won't allow to do. For example, we can't declare a variable inside the curly braces. Let's try that. Let me declare a variable called value to these numbers. Let me save this. And if you notice, the application is throwing an error stating that let is not a known keyword inside the curly braces. Okay. Another example that interpolation won't allow is initializing a class. Before doing that, let me revert back the declare variable from these curly braces. Let me add one more h1 tag and initialize a new class date within the curly braces. And if you notice, the application is throwing an error stating that the initialization of new date is not allowed inside the curly braces. Okay, that's all pretty much for this episode. We'll discuss about property binding in our next tutorial.